Utah State basketball game is final, and now it's your chance to text and call about it with Al Lewis and John Russell as KVNU Aggie Game Day continues with Aggie Call. The numbers are 753-5868 for calls, and the text line is 435-339-0321. Aggie Call, part of KVNU Aggie Game Day for USU Hoops, is sponsored by Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, LSS Insurance, Young Truck and Trailer, DD Auto and Salvage, My Mattress, Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, Elements Restaurant, White Pine Funeral Home, Les Olson Company, Prodigy Brewing, Cache Valley Bank, Jarek's Fine Jewelry, Darrow's Appliance, HSA Depot, Advanced Fireplace and Stove, Alpine Home Medical, S.E. Needham Jewelers, Thermo Fisher, Primrose Home Care, and Golden Spike Electric. It's KVNU Aggie Call with Al Lewis and John Russell.
Well, Utah State only allowed the Aztecs of San Diego State to score 1 point in about the last 5 minutes of the game, and still that 1 point maybe didn't make a difference. The Aggies had many chances, but they lose by 2. Utah State loses to San Diego State 63-61. Aggies went on a 9-0 run with 4.5 minutes to go in the game, down 10, and brought it back to 62-61 as Atkin made 2 free throws with a minute to play. And then a miss by Bradley, rebounding all over the place. The Aggies ended up getting a shot by Shulga with 10 seconds to go. Fall-away shot didn't go. They fouled. San Diego State made 1 free throw with 1.8 seconds to go. They threw the ball length of the court. It was tipped by San Diego State, but not out of bounds, and the clock will run after a tip until it goes out of bounds. Left them really well at a tap-and-shoot type situation at the end. Ball's tapped by San Diego State on the inbounds play. Game is over. So 63-61, Aggies made a furious rally. Gary Wilkinson, former Utah State basketball player. Let's see, years, Gary, 10, 11?
2007 to 2009.
Okay, 7 to 9. So Gary Wilkinson with us, and we are going to talk about this game. And it's you make all the stops. You had chances to get even closer than that, eventually the 1 point at the end of the game, which is 2 points there at the end.
Yeah, I think they had every chance to win. Execution down the stretch was a factor for them in terms of creating those opportunities and translating them into points. But, I have to give it to the Aggies. They fought back from a 16-point deficit to bring themselves into a position to win the game, and that says a lot about them. And now they just have a learning experience headed into the final stretch of the season to know what it takes to get the job done.
Well, again, they got down 20 at San Diego State the first time around when they played, and an 18-0 run. Tonight it was a 13-0 run, I think it was, in the first half that got them behind, where eventually they were chasing. Then it looked like they were almost going to get it back at half, and then the half didn't end very well. They're down 15, and then Utah State tried to start to come back and never could kind of break it closer than 10 there for a while, and then finally that last little run at the end of the game. And gosh, couldn't get the ball to Ashworth, and Ashworth had those 2 shots for 3. One was wide open down the stretch too.
Right, and I think that's just understanding how to get to the ball to the player that is willing and ready to take the shot. And I think Ashworth has proven throughout this season that he's willing to take tough shots, and he did that last season. And that's who you wanted in the hand, as a person that's been under pressure, has had that opportunity and proven that they can do it. And I think the bench from San Diego State played a huge role in this game.
And they played a huge role in the first game, too.
Right.
And Seiko off the bench there. It was Ledee and Parrish in this game.
Right. And they were the ones that carried the Aztecs through the first half. That when the run was stopped due to the refs' prolonged discussion about.
We'll be talking about that for a long time.
Right.
This game should have been over a half hour ago. Right. I said the officials must be working on getting paid per the hour rather than that. Let's bring in Jalen Moore. Jalen, what was your analysis of this game that the Aggies, again, never led after the first part of the game? They got back to 1 there at the end but couldn't get over the top. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I thought they had a lot of chances. Obviously, they didn't give up, got down by 16 before half, came back out, started the half strong. They looked good. They were making more shots. Their defense was better. Obviously, I think we only allowed 18, 19 points or something like that in the second half. So our defense obviously was better. But, yeah, we had our chances. We obviously didn't execute some of those down the stretch. And obviously San Diego State, they kind of outplayed us in a lot of the areas that mattered. We knew going into this, if we didn't win the rebounding battle, we wouldn't have much of a chance, and obviously we still had a chance again like we did at their place, but we still got out-rebounded, and they played really good defense. They made us shoot under 40% from the field and under 30% from the three-point line. So I thought their defense was good. But yeah, like we said, another situation of us not necessarily putting together two halves as well.
Guys, Gary and Jalen. Jalen, let me ask you first. Do you think the shot that they went and Shulga had the fall-away shot there with 10 seconds to go, do you think that was what, or was that just something that opened up that he had to take because it was wide open?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming it was something that opened up that just the play kind of fell apart because San Diego State guarded it well. When you play a team that's defensively sound against San Diego State, they got high-level athletes, high-level defenders. I think you got to run a play to try to get a look other than like an ISO situation because you're not most likely going to score against a team like that with so many good defenders. And they defended it well. They made him shoot a hard shot, and we've seen Shulga make the shot, so it's not like it was a terrible shot. We've seen him make that shot through the season before. But I thought San Diego State did a good job defensively if they did make us have to go to a second or third option.
Because we just kind of felt like, Gary, that maybe, I don't know, we didn't think he'd be the option there, but it was an open shot, a 15-foot jumper, it looked like.
Yeah, I think falling away from the basket, end of the game, Shulga hasn't been the one that we've turned to in those situations previously. I don't have a problem with Max shooting shots. I think he's extremely skilled and capable of doing that. For me personally, like I said, I think Ashworth's been put in those positions, and maybe it is, the defense of
maybe they overplayed him a lot or something.
They assume that that's where it's going. So he created space. He had an open shot. Obviously, I think Utah State was probably looking for something different there.
Okay. And Jalen, their bench down at San Diego was huge, and their bench was, again, big in this game. And this time it wasn't Seiko. It was Ledee second half, and it was really Parrish in the first half that really made the game along with Bradley for their team. That was really about it.
Yeah, for sure. And kind of what we said, they just have upgraded offensively. Got guys that are better shooters, guys that can finish around the rim, put it on the floor, and that's kind of what you saw from their bench. Usually you play with San Diego State, they got most of their best scorers in the starting lineup, stuff like that in the past. Now you've got some guys you got to worry about from the bench. So they've built a good team that way. And those two guys came to play from the bench, and obviously they needed to because they lost Trammell pretty early, who's like kind of their leader of their team. And like you guys said, in that whole weird situation, I still don't really understand what happened, but the whole thing was weird, and they had to kind of rely on their bench after that point forward, and they did a good job with that.
I think, Gary, you think you maybe figured it out as to why Trammell was the guy ejected for San Diego State.
Right. I think what had happened was Trammell was off the court. He was on the bench.
Not in the game at the time.
When the timeout was called, he came off the bench and then got into the altercation with Funk, which kind of led to his ejection.
So he's leaving the bench like they called Coach Odom coming all the way down for a technical, and Connor Odom and Connor Gillis, the two guys came down too off our bench and got ejected supposedly from the game at the time. So with the three total players, one San Diego State, two for the Aggies, and then Coach Odom got the technical that eventually was shot, I guess, the two shots.
Right. And I think that's why Trammell's out.
I mean, Jalen, that was as long of a review and trying to figure it out as I've ever seen before. You've watched a lot of basketball, Jalen. You ever seen anything like that?
No, I haven't, and I honestly hope there's a way that it gets to a point. Obviously, you want to get things right. You got to make sure you watch everything, people that come onto the court, all that kind of stuff. But like when you're in a high-level game like this, you got guys playing well. It's hard to like get going in a game and then stop for 20 minutes, and then everybody's got to get going again. I think if there's a way that we can at some point speed up that process, I think that's probably the best thing we need to do. But like I said, they got to do what they got to do to try to make the game flow, but also get the rules right and get everything correct.
The problem is now officials, I mean, I understand them wanting to get it right, but you guys played in the days when it wasn't like this, and it's almost like now the officials rely too much on the replay rather than just making a call and all of that. Would you agree with that, Gary?
Yeah, I think basketball is a rhythm game.
And when you get out of rhythm for 20 minutes.
Right, and I think that was a chance for Utah State to capitalize.
It kind of gave us a little bit of a boost up for a little while.
But again, the bench for San Diego State was a factor. They came in and carried the rhythm forward. But I think the review thing is something to try to make the game a little bit fair. But the reality of it is you're losing something and you're gaining something. You want to be more fair, but you're losing less basketball. You're losing players getting in a rhythm and watching the sport and just kind of going with the flow how games go. And so, I mean, it just depends on what type of game you want to watch.
And plus, our shot clock wasn't working very well tonight. It kept sticking all the time.
Right.
So, Jalen, let's check your keys to the game, brought to you by Primrose Home Care and Hospice. Again, concierge home health service in the comfort of your own home. And we mentioned it. The last 10 times these teams had played, the rebound winner won the game. They win again tonight. San Diego State 42 rebounds, the Aggies 34. It ended up being 15-10 offensive rebounds, but really the second chance points were 12-12 by the end of or 12-11 by the end of the night, only for San Diego State. But that's the first one. Take care of the basketball, Jalen. The Aggies had just 10 turnovers. A couple of times those fast break turnovers kind of hurt us in the game, and then 2 halves, please, and we didn't get it from the Aggies, but we didn't get it from the Aztecs either. So it's kind of that's what we ended up with, that 2-point game at the end. What are your thoughts on some of your keys to the game, Jalen?
Yeah, kind of like we touched on. I think rebounding was the biggest key. Them obviously getting 15 offensive rebounds. They got some big rebounds in crucial points of the game. There was one towards the very end there where they had to shoot a contested shot, and Parrish went and got the rebound and was able to run off like 20 more seconds off the shot clock and the game clock. That one really hurt us. So there were some extra possessions that they got from the rebounding battle that hurt us. And then obviously we did a good job not turning the ball over and then playing 2 halves. Like you said, neither team did that. And that's why I ended up making it kind of low scoring when you thought it was going to be a high scoring game, more low scoring. We didn't perform that great in the first half. They didn't in the second half. But yeah, we still had our chances. Even though we gave up some of those keys, we still had our chances in this game.
All right, Jalen, always nice to hear from you before and after the games. Saturday, the game is at 8 o'clock at San Jose, make it, and we'll be on at 7, so we'll talk to you on Saturday night, okay?
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Okay, and
See you, Jalen.
Jalen, let's see, Jalen came after you, Utah State. Were you able to follow much of his career, Gary?
Yeah, I was. I watched quite a bit. I was overseas at the time playing ball, and obviously always interested in how the Aggies doing. And Jalen was a special player. He was a guy that could do a lot of things, and brought some toughness and brought a lot of skill and athleticism to the Aggie program. So he was a great pickup for us.
And Gary, of course, did a lot of that himself as well. We'll take our first break here. The text line, I'm going to see if I can make it work tonight. John Russell's usually the guy who figures this out. So you're asking me to do something that's probably above my pay grade, but we'll see if we can figure it out. It's 435-339 0321 is the text line, and our phone number is 753-5868. 753-5868. That's taking me way back in the old days of KVNU where 5141 came from. That's a long time ago's phone number. So 753-5868. Again, 63-61. San Diego State beat the Aggies tonight in the Spectrum.
Hi, this is Tyler. Recently, my father passed away, and White Pine provided the funeral services for our family. They were friendly, thoughtful, and attentive to every detail. You know, it isn't often that a loved one passes away, so it was very important to my family that everything be handled just right. Because my dad was loved by so many people, we had a lot of family and friends that traveled from out of town. I really appreciate how White Pine Funeral Services made sure everyone was comfortable and that the focus was where it needed to be, on my dad and my family. They really took care of us during this tender time.
We're heading into some crazy weather this winter, which means power outages. Tyler and his team at Golden Spike Electric can install a Generac automatic standby generator for your home so you can avoid issues when the power goes out. If you have one already, Golden Spike Electric can maintain your Generac automatic standby generator for you. Find them online at gsegenerators.com or call 435-257-3016. Golden Spike Electric and Generac automatic standby generators. Power you can count on.
What's more important than sleep? Granted, some things are, but not many. This is Ryan at My Mattress, and here we offer the best solution to better sleep, a better mattress. IntelliBed, the gel mattress, cradles your hips and shoulders while providing the best back support possible. Or come in and choose a Tempur-Pedic that boasts 93% of their owners love their bed. My Mattress, offering the best sleep possible by the South Walmart.
Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat is locally owned and operated inside the beautiful new Three Peaks Medical Plaza in North Logan. Expect the most cutting-edge techniques, qualified doctors, and friendly staff to ensure the highest quality patient care. The ENT providers have extensive training to properly treat ear, nose, and throat conditions for adults and children. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat serves all of northern Utah and southern Idaho, accepting most insurance products including SelectMed. Go to CacheValleyENT.com for appointments and details. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, located in North Logan and Providence.
Has inflation got you down? This is Zach with HSA Depot. Did you know you can save money by using your pre-tax income to buy qualifying medical supplies? Health savings and flex spending accounts can be used for more than just doctor visits and prescriptions. HSA Depot helps you conquer your health care by providing HSA and FSA eligible products, taking the guesswork out of the process. Come to HSA Depot next to Sally Beauty and see how much you can save. HSA Depot, 5-star review.
It's KVNU Aggie Game Day, brought to you by DD Auto and Salvage on News Talk KVNU.
Oh boy, the Aggies again 2 points away from tying the game, or maybe a three-pointer. They're late to win the game. That's the thing. Gary Wilkinson, former Aggie player, here with us again, analyzing tonight. And we should mention our wishes are with John Russell and his family. John has done this for years. He was doing post-game back in the days when I was still doing Utah State games, and John would be here, and his father is ailing, and the families had to all be at his side here the next little bit, and we're hoping everything will work out the way it's supposed to work out for John Russell's family, but that's why Gary Wilkinson is here tonight to help us out, and we appreciate Cache Valley Bank, one of our sponsors, and that's okay with you, right, Gary?
That's all right with me. I'm all for Cache Valley Bank.
Gary works for Cache Valley Bank. Again, they're always here to support you, be your partner along the way, and they bring us our post-game game day coverage with the Aggies and San Diego State tonight. We're, again, waiting to hear from the Spectrum as well. Let me just, Gary, just your thoughts on that one situation there where we had a lot of chances. We were stopping them, and we were not converting when it was like, I want to say it was 62-57. It seemed like a long time. Mm-hmm. We went back and forth on a lot of things there. Where Ashworth, that's where he missed the two shots. We had the steal and the miss after Funk took the ball away, those things.
Right, and I think, look, we're the best three-point shooting team in the nation, and I think we rely so heavily on our guard play and our perimeter play that in those situations, when it comes down to trying to get an easy shot, we struggle to find a way to get easy shots. We either get fouled or we settle for mid-range three-pointers, and instead of just attacking and finding ways to create in the paint. And I think that's one thing that heading down this part of the season that Aggies can focus on is just not becoming so stagnant, so reliant on the perimeter play to get the job done.
And you get into that, and then the next thing is you're facing a team that really does defend. As you could tell, San Diego State really goes after you. They make it physically hard to do things offensively, too.
Right, absolutely. And I think they got big, strong, athletic guards and players and post players. They got, last year's Defensive Player of the Year in Mensa, but that's that.
And
obviously
he was a non-factor tonight.
No, yeah.
After he had a huge game against Boise State.
Right, that's right. And I think we did a good job on him. We played him well defensively. We kept him off the block. We kept him out of the paint. And I think for a guy I came with a team like us too, what's his role defensively? We don't score much off of penetration. It's more penetration and kick. So I think that probably made him a non-factor as well.
Okay. Sean wants to join with us on our Aggie Call post game. Sean, 753 KVNU, the number. Go ahead.
Hey guys, I was up at the Spectrum. It was loud like the days of old. It was very nice. A couple questions. Did you guys catch what they gave Shulga the technical for in the first half? And then why does Odom struggle with out-of-timeout plays sometimes? It always just seems like a one-on-one shot that's not very good, and I'll listen. Okay,
we'll try to answer that. And I'll answer the inbounds thing because I know I've talked to the coach about it. There's been times this year where they've done very, very well on inbounds plays. And, hey, that execution play where they got the ball to Funk on the layup there late in the game was a great inbounds play. And so we have been good on some of those, and out of timeouts we've been good. Go back and look at how many times. A lot of timeouts tonight. It seemed like we're coming back and shooting free throws after the break, so maybe we didn't get as much chance out of those deals. The Shulga one, didn't they say he hit some guy in the face?
Yeah, it was administrative.
On when he was like he was defending him.
Right.
Did they call a foul besides on him too?
No, I just think there was an administrative tech. I think it was one of those flopping technical fouls where he kind of exacerbated the.
He kind of was going along the baseline and it was kind of falling away and all that and something.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that they called it an administrative technical, so it must have been a flop.
Yeah.
Is what ended up being, but I'm just thinking. Let's see. Ledee though shot 2 free throws. That should have only been 1 free throw. So there had to be something else involved in that.
No, isn't it technical fouls or 2 free throws?
Well,
right?
but not the flops.
Not the flops.
Flops are usually only 1. So, but I thought they said something about a hit to the face, Sean. So I think that was it. And then the inbounds plays, they work on them like crazy. All the teams. Hey, San Diego State ran some inbounds plays tonight that did hurt us too.
Yes.
Under the basket.
Yeah, they scored. San Diego State scored pretty easily off their inbound plays. They ran some really nice plays that got them some easy shots. I think one of the things is for me personally, and maybe I'm a little biased in this, on inbound plays, getting it into the paint, getting it into the block, and that's probably a better way of structuring things to run your offense through that. But we don't have that, and San Diego State's defense is really tough. I mean, if they don't want a person to have the ball, they can make it so that person doesn't get the ball. And obviously, to put it into Shulga's hands at that point was the best option for them. Although, like I said, I think Shulga was I'm okay with him taking shots like that.
He did shoot 2 for 11 in the game tonight, though.
Yeah.
I mean, but he, here's some texts again: 435-339-0321. 9315 is one of our best texters, and we've already talked about between you and Jalen, we've talked about that would Max have been the guy to take the shot, and I think we've kind of talked that. But his other comment, defense in the second half may have been the best I've seen all year for the Aggies, but digging a hole in a half of basketball is a no-no. We did it at San Diego State. We tried to, we got back to 6 down there. We tonight are down 16. We tried to get back. We come up 1 point and then eventually 2 with the one free throw there at the end of the game.
It is really tough to come back from a 16-point deficit. That's why I said it says a lot about their character, and they're willing to fight through situations like that. And you expend a lot of energy trying to get back into it. And we had our opportunities, and the shots just didn't fall tonight.
And let's see. Now we have 0061 as text in. The refs made it all about them, and the crazy amount of tees ended up being the difference. Emotional princesses. They were pathetic tonight. It looked like to me that Nate Harris and Michael Reed and John Higgins wanted to be seen, and maybe they thought everybody paid their ticket to come watch them tonight. Now, right. I don't. I'm just being facetious, obviously, but I think they had problems with the clock at the start of the game, but there were and a couple of the fouls that were called, with as physical as the game was. We noticed that when all of a sudden San Diego State only had 3 team fouls. Boy, they got to the bonus situation, or very close to it there at the end of the game pretty fast. The officials kind of seemed to notice that and started to call some of those close ones.
Yeah, and I'd say they were more of a factor in the first half than the second. I think they started the second calling it a little close, but I wasn't as kind to the ref when I played for the Aggies, and so I wasn't a huge fan of that profession. But for me personally, as I watched this game tonight, and I told Al this during the game, was that they're too much of a factor in the first half. I think the second half they kind of tempered that a bit and stepped back and let a little bit more go than they initially had in the first half.
But then they did call that one close one. It was somebody driving in the paint, and they called a foul, or like Shulga got one or something for trying to defend. Bairstow got it on Bradley, and it was really other stuff we've seen in the game. It wasn't called at all, and that just gave them a little more clock and a little more time opportunity with it there. And I think this is what I thought. As 9939 texts in, and we appreciate you texting in, at 435-339-0321. Shulga's technical due to him striking the defender in the face with his offhand as he went to the basket. And see, that's what I saw. I thought they said his hand hit him in the face, and then he was kind of flailing down. So it wasn't the flop, and that's why I think it was the 2 shots, because his offhand hit him in the face. And again, in some ways, that's like a basketball play. In some ways, when you're driving and somebody you run into somebody and you hit them and you start to play. So I don't know, but then again, that's another one they reviewed during the timeout and came out after and said he hit him in the face.
Yeah, I mean, is that more of a flagrant foul? I mean, I'm not up on the rules. Well,
so I guess it basically was.
That's what they'd have to call.
I guess it was. So we're at the top of the hour. We need to take a break, and Aggies lost 63-61 to San Diego State tonight in the Spectrum. So the 3-game winning streak against them at home is stopped. And Utah State's lost both games to the Aztecs this year, and they drop now back to, again, 4 conference losses. San Diego State stays at the top of 2, and we'll be right back after this.
Are you ready for Valentine's kisses and wishes? It's time to make your Valentine's Day reservation for the Sweethearts Buffet at the Riverwoods Conference Center on Friday, February 10th. Experience a romantic ambiance with piano music and a kissing booth backdrop for selfies. A delicious selection of entrees that include herb-roasted New York loin and pesto roasted turkey. And it wouldn't be Valentine's without a decadent dessert bar filled with all your favorite dreamy sweets. Now as for the kisses, better make your reservation today. Riverwoods Conference Center. Call 750-5151.
The Young Automotive Group is proud to announce Young Truck and Trailer Center in Cache Valley. Whether it's heavy equipment trailers, horse trailers, race car trailers, or cargo and utility trailers, we're excited to offer some of the finest trailers and flatbed work trucks to Cache Valley. Our team of experts look forward to helping you find the right truck or trailer to fit your needs, with competitive prices offered on every make and model for sale on our lot. With our extensive inventory, you'll find the best deals right here in Cache Valley. Young Truck and Trailer Center, just off Highway 89 in Logan. Think young, drive young.
What do Valentine's Day and Jarek's have in common? They're both all about the romance. Jarek's Fine Jewelry has a great selection for your sweetheart. Don't sweat it out worrying about where to get the perfect gift. We recently added a 3D laser engraver. Now through Valentine's, Jarek's will personalize any jewelry purchase for no additional charge. We can engrave a wedding date, a name, or any message on most jewelry, like a pendant, watch, bracelet, the inside or outside of a ring. This Valentine's, let us help personalize your gift and make it special. Make it Jarek's.
When it comes to home care, it's important to know you have a choice. If you or a loved one is in need of hospice or home health services, remember that Primrose Home Care and Hospice believes in treating the patient as well as the problem. We work directly with you and your doctor to create a health plan that's catered to your needs. Our team is devoted to providing options in the freedom and safety of your own home. Visit us at primrosecare.com or call to schedule a free consultation. Primrose Home Care and Hospice, your local hospice and home health provider since 2006.
The station for news and talk. KVNU Logan, 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KVNU Game Day continues with Aggie Call. Your chance to talk about today's game. Call 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Al Lewis here. Gary Wilkinson, the Aggie great, joining with us. We had Jalen Moore earlier, another Aggie great, to analyze this one post-game, and San Diego State pulled it out, 63-61. Actually, they just barely edged it out. They did not get no field goals in the last 5:40. They only made one of their last 11 shots, 0 for 7. They were from the field. A Bradley jumper, again with about 5 minutes and 40 seconds to go, gave them a 62-52 lead at that time. That was their last field goal. Ashworth came back with a 3 right after that to make it 62-55. Then we got to a media break. They had a shot clock violation. Then Funk scored on an inbounds play to make it 62-57. Ashworth, though, had the 2 misses, and then Funk stole the ball, and then we missed again, and then finally we stopped him again, and then Funk came down, and we got that lay-in off of the Sean Bairstow pass after we'd made a steal. So that made it 62-59 with a minute 48, and then Atkin made 2 free throws with a minute to go, and then that was really it. We had the Sholga shot. We had really no shot in the last deal, and they had a miss by Bradley, but they got the rebound, and then we had to foul, and then Johnson again. And there it was still no foul shots, and then finally the 17th foul came on that last play with 1.8 seconds to go, and Johnson had to shoot free throws. He made 1 of 2. And that's where it ended up, 63-61. James joins with us. James, what were your thoughts about tonight?
Well, Al, thanks. Great game. It's just a tough loss. I agree with your comments that you guys have been talking about tonight. It's really hard to come back, being down that much, 16 points, whatever it was, against a good team. But, they fought back hard. And as you said, we had our opportunities, right? I think what'd we do? We missed three threes there at the end, and then we have the last shot, and then we couldn't get the ball in. So we definitely had our opportunities. I'm hoping tonight it builds some character. We can play with these guys. We can play tough. Again, and we talked about it on a few games, we are a much better team and can score when we get in the paint. And we really struggled there at the second half. It just seemed like we were shooting some just crazy shots from the outside. But once we started going inside, it seemed like it made a difference, and that really helped bring us back. But really a tough loss tonight. I love our Aggie fans. It just everybody was on their feet cheering, and it would have been nice to just have a better outcome than we did. So.
Oh, it was a heck of an atmosphere. You could tell watching it on TV like Gary and I did. And, again, we appreciate you calling in, James. And your point, it kind of goes to what you've been talking about, Gary, is you've got to find somebody. The points in the paint actually ended up being 30-26 for San Diego State, which is closer than it felt like to me in some ways in the game.
Yeah, and I think it's that you have a consistent the most successful I've watched the Aggies for this season is our guards with Bairstow and Shulga they're bigger, and with San Diego State it's just not the case. So you can give it to Bairstow a little bit on the block, and Shulga can get down there a little bit, and that can kind of set a different pace and tone for the game, a little bit more physicality. But that was just a difficult situation with San Diego State. They're a different team that way.
And the pass that Bairstow made to Funk on that fast break, we've seen our team do some of that. You have a tougher time passing the ball even against San Diego State, let alone finding an open shot against them and things like that too. They have a wingspan. They have a system that just really seems to make it. You don't look good offensively ever against them. So when you do get a shot, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm open, and we saw an air ball or two even from the Aggies.
Right, and I think that's the thing is we're such a rhythm. We're a team that needs to be in rhythm because we play so much on the perimeter that they did a great job in the first half of taking us out of our rhythm, and that's where we put up some really difficult shots. Then they weren't falling, and then as a basketball player, one of the things that is super helpful is to watch a few shots go in, and then you start to get your confidence and things start rolling, and then the hoop seems like it's 10 feet wide, you can't miss, and I think that's one of the things that San Diego State did really well at the beginning is he took Bairstow out of his rhythm. I mean, Funk made a couple shots, but he was a non-factor the rest of the game. You know, he made a layup or two, but he wasn't really in any rhythm. And
rhythm is a big deal for our team offensively, isn't it? And to be able to get the ball, transition, and get something quickly sometimes, rather than have to grind it a little bit on the half court.
Yeah, we're not the best half court team in the conference by any stretch of the imagination. We at times become very, very stagnant on the perimeter, and we end up taking really tough contested shots, and that leads to runs from the other team, which I've seen time and time again. So that's something that I think that I don't know if it can be remedied with the structure of the team. I just don't know if we have something that's going to change that this year. So I guess we kind of live or die by that.
12-0 run tonight. We had an 8-0 run in the second half, and then we, of course, had the 9-0 run towards the end of the game. Post-game from the Spectrum, White Pine Funeral Services, your primary provider of funeral and cremation services here in the Valley, brings you our post-game game day. We appreciate our sponsors very, very much. And we'll get back to texts 339-0321 in a moment. But let's hear what Stephen Ashworth had to say after the game. It seems like he always has to talk after losses. That's what I said.
Yeah, it was definitely a rowdy atmosphere, and that's exactly how we would like it. And we're appreciative to the fans for bringing it. And we knew that when you're battling for the top spot in the Mountain West that you can expect physical play, and that's what we got. And some of those things I think were a little out of character for us in regard to some of the technicals and things like that, but we got to be more composed. And from the grand scheme of things, it was a lot of fun playing, and there's definitely some moments of distraction where you have to get regrouped and communicate to each other clearly that we have to stay focused, and I thought that our team was able to do that, which I was really proud of for sure.
Did you like the shot that you guys got at the end with Max?
Yeah, we've run that play before, and it's worked really well. Max is great at drawing fouls, and especially when we were in the double bonus and down by one, we knew that it was an opportunity for Max to go create and make a play. And I was coming off a pin down screen from Dan, and then Dan was going to screen Max, and We didn't execute quite as well as we would have hoped, and we've executed it better in the past, but we trust Max in that situation, and really we trusted anybody that Coach drew up to play for, and there's a lot of different options in it, and Max took the shot, and we've seen it go in before, seen it go in earlier in the game, and so I was definitely confident that Max was going to hit that, but it didn't drop, and we still had a few opportunities to make some plays, and didn't quite go our way tonight.
Late in the game, everyone knows 9 times out of 10 you're going to make that wide open three, and having that shot fall short even after missing one before. Did you get frustrated at that point at all, just knowing how critical it was?
Yeah, I did. I was disappointed in myself. We had a good talk about wanting plays back, and we can't focus on that. But that was definitely an opportunity where Sean saw me, and it was a great pass. It was on time, on target, and late in the game, just should have put a little more legs into it. Fell up short, and it looked good the whole way, and I felt like it was good. So it was disappointing, but something to motivate and move on from.
What can the team learn from this?
I think there's a lot to pull away and to learn. The first being that we are one of the top teams in the Mountain West. We're right there with everybody. We wish that we could have had a different outcome to prove a little bit more tonight. Another thing to learn is that you can't give the best team in the Mountain West right now a 16-point lead at halftime. And there's a reason why they're at the top spot, and that's what we were battling for tonight. And we proved to ourselves that even when that happens, we can come back and we can play really great defense. We proved to ourselves that we're great defensively when we want to be. And part of that is just a connected focus. I think we held them to 19 points in the second half, and so we're right there. There's a lot of things that I think are positive despite the fact that we have a negative result, but definitely a lot of things to learn from, for sure.
Speaking of that, how did you hold them to 19 points in the second half?
A lot of it was keying in on the different actions that they like to run and where they like to get some of their best players. We knew that we really couldn't let Bradley go downhill to his left because he was virtually unstoppable in the first half when he was getting that. Very similar to where you can't really let Sean go downhill to his right. And a lot of that came down to just execution in the second half being much better from that perspective.
Again, Stephen Ashworth after the game up in the Spectrum. Again, Stephen in the game ends up with 18. So he's had 2 17-point games in Logan, now an 18-point game against San Diego State in Logan. Hasn't had as good a games at San Diego State or in the tournament against them. But he did shoot 5 of 11 in the game, but 2 for 5 from 3, 40%. But again, look at, they limited, he had to take 6 of his shots inside the line where normally he shoots almost more 3s than 2s all year long tonight, Gary. But again, the disappointment of a guy who's a shooter, when he gets a wide open one like that, in a close game, you just can't have a good do-over. It's right there, and that could have brought the house down.
Right,
if you made that shot.
Right. I mean, that's basketball. And I mean, I missed some really tough shots. I can think of one right now that I don't really talk about, but Steve, that's the shot we want. That's the guy we want shooting it, and so. I mean, I would take that all day, every day, and you just hope to go in. I played basketball, a lot of basketball in my life, and you can't beat yourself up over one shot. Stevens missed, didn't make the game, it wasn't that would have made us win. It would have been helpful, but we had opportunity after opportunity, and we weren't able to execute. I think one of the points he makes is we're right there, and there's a difference between being right there and then being the team that overcomes the gap, right? And I think it's just a matter of like doing the little things, the little free throws, being composed, executing down the stretch, and having the guys that you can step up. And I think with us, we don't know who that's going to be from night to night. We don't know who that guy's going to be.
This team has had the identity that it doesn't have to be the same guy all of the time. Somebody else can come through, and somebody else, and all of that kind of stuff. But then I just thought about this. remember in the first half we missed some key free throws. Max missed 2, I think, one time when he was up there. And you think, okay, we got a lot of basketball to go. And again, you can't say you lost the game because of that.
Right.
But if you have a 16 for 17 free throw shooting night, or let's see how many. Say we took 22, and we've had a night where we've made like 20 of 22. If we'd have made 20 out of 22, 4 more points, you win the game.
Right. And then that's the type of stuff that helps you to overcome the threshold of being right there and actually turning the corner and winning those games.
And to hold them to 19 points is impressive after they had 44 in the first half.
Right. And you'd like to turn it around and set the tone right from the beginning of the game and saying this is the way that we're going to play this game and not have to get down 16 before you turn it on. And I think them understanding that now, Coach Morrill used to always say, like, January is where we hit our stride. This is when I stop coaching and you start playing, right? And this should be at the point where the team is setting the tone. The coaches are there just to help facilitate. The team knows what's expected of them. They know how they need to come out from a mental preparedness standpoint, and they set to the tone right from when they step on the court.
As long as the coaches had to talk to the players tonight with all the breaks of reviews, I think they've used up all of their words.
They have nothing left to say.
All righty, we'll get more here on our post game as we continue. Again, finally, unbelievable. Again, the way it turned out at the end, 63-61. Aggies had a shot there, and again missed the shot to maybe take the lead. And I think Stephen explained that pretty well too. It's Shulga is they have more options than just going to one thing. That was not you do have different things. Stephen was involved, Funk was involved. I remember earlier this year when in one game Shulga hit Bairstow for that one shot in the one game, or Bairstow hit Shulga for the shot, and Shulga did make it in that one game too. Yeah. So he's made some big shots and won games at free throws too this year. So, all right, we'll be back with more. Again, 63-61. Postgame brought to you in part by HSA Depot. Remember, you can save as much as 30% by using your pre-tax income to buy qualifying medical supplies from them. And their phone number is 265-0380. Give them a call tomorrow, and we'll have more game day. Your texts, 339-0321. Phone calls, 753-5868. We're still waiting for the coach.
Les Olson IT structured cabling is second to none. Tired of old and inefficient cabling? Have an upgrade or remodel planned? Building a new network from the ground up? We offer the very best in low voltage cabling installation, including data, phone, fiber optic, and more. Ask us how to get your free consultation today.
Les Olson IT.
It's never too late or too cold to get rid of that old vehicle. Now is the time to earn extra cash by calling DD Auto and Salvage. Let them pay you for that junk vehicle. DD Auto and Salvage makes it so easy and fast to get rid of your junker vehicles by paying you the most money possible. Pickup is available. If you have metal, DD Auto and Salvage in Logan wants to pay you today. Call 787-1204.
That's 787-1204 today.
See store for details.
It's engagement season. Time to find the perfect ring. S.E. Needham Jewelers is known for beautifully cut diamonds at excellent prices. Guys, the sparkle is what matters most in the diamond you give your sweetheart. Our diamonds stand apart from those of other stores. Come view our diamonds under magnification. Select a diamond that fits your budget and then have it mounted in a ring that she'll love. Remember, you get S.E. Needham quality at internet pricing. Open Monday through Saturday 10 to 7, where Utah gets engaged. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block at the sign of the clock.
Hi, this is Ashley with LSS Insurance. Medicare can seem complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Let us help. We'll answer all your questions and get you specific information that fits your needs. Medicare is not one size fits all. We'll help you find the right coverage for you. Call 752-9493. You can ignore the TV and the junk mail. We'll get you the exact information you need. We will help you access the benefits that are important to you. Call LSS Insurance at 752-9493.
Nothing compares to the warmth and feel that a wood stove provides. The two-time Best of Northern Utah winning team says there's never been a better time to replace your old inefficient wood stove and install a new energy-efficient EPA-certified Vermont casting wood product in your home. The U.S. government is offering federal tax credits of 26% on your wood stove install. For Vermont casting units, that includes stoves, venting, and labor. Call or email Advanced Fireplace and Stove for a free in-home estimate. Call 435-752-7272 or go to advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
KVNU Game Day continues. with Aggie Call. More analysis about today's game and your chance to talk about it. Call 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
63-61 for the Aztecs over the Aggies in the Spectrum. Utah State down 16. They were down at the half, again 16 down. And then Utah State was able to bring it back to a 1-point game at the last minute of the game. A miss, a rebound by them. Then eventually the Aggies take the ball, and another miss when the Aggies go down the floor. Shulga gets the shot. It's a miss, and then they, at that particular point, then Utah State has to foul them. They go down to the other end, and they make one free throw out of two, and then at 1 point down on the clock, they throw it length of the floor. It tips off of a San Diego State player's hand, and that may, in some ways, I wish it would have just gone faster or something, because it did take a lot more seconds off the clock. And really 0.3 or 0.2 or whatever they put up there, you don't have much of a chance in the game. The other scores tonight: Green Canyon 56, Mountain Crest 55, Ridgeline 58, Bear River 48, and Skyview 71, Logan 59. There is one other conference game tonight. We'll get to that in a minute. Gary and I and you will now listen to Coach Odom, again brought to you by hey, there's no need to go to the big box store for appliances. Daryl's Appliance has what you need, prices you want, great brand names are there, and great service to back it up. Again, Daryl's Appliance, beautiful downtown Benson. I think our recorder up there, Jason Walker, kind of got maybe Coach in midstream as he got started in his postgame.
Game all around. The first half obviously was disjointed in a lot of ways for us, and not as much for San Diego State. They played well. Their defense really impacted us in a negative way. They were getting out on Steven, getting out on Taylor. We were not as organized as we needed to be. Excuse me. Just walked up the stairs. It got me. We weren't as organized as we needed to be, attacking their half-court pressure. We didn't give ourselves enough space. We didn't cut hard enough. All things that our guys are pretty good at. And you got to give San Diego State credit, for getting us out of sorts in our half-court offense. Defensively, they were on the glass. They were getting some offensive rebounds. Got a couple of threes, on some mistakes that we made, which got the lead going. Obviously, after the delay, and all that happened there, we actually felt pretty good because we had closed the gap a little bit. We got into the free throw line, and we were whittling the lead down, into, I think it was 6 or 8 or something like that. I think it was 6 maybe. And, you're feeling pretty good at that point. And then the last, 4 minutes of the half, was just, not what we needed at that particular time. And, for them to get up 44-28 at that point, I think it was 28-23 maybe, or something like that, 29-23. That was an unfortunate run that we could have done without. And then, it was up to our guys, at halftime, talking about, what are we going to do? At this point, we have to step up, and play better. We've got to do the things that, we've been talking about in practice and working on in practice, and hope that those things shine through, as we begin to play that second half. And our guys, we're committed, to stepping up and making it a game, play after play. And it certainly didn't come easy, but we got off to a good start in the second half, stop, score, and we just kind of played that game, as it went. We had 2 or 3 possessions, later in that half, under 4-minute mark, where we came up empty and we didn't get clean looks. You got to give San Diego State credit for that and their defenders. but we would have liked to have, had some cleaner shots there, to put a little bit more game pressure on them, because it went back to 9. And then again, our guys came back and whittled it down again to get it to a point where, we had a chance to at least tie it, there, at the end with 10 seconds, and then obviously the underneath out of bounds. And so, of course I'm proud of the guys, proud of the effort, that they put in, to give ourselves a chance. The defensive intensity and effort in that second half was really impressive. Ton of plays throughout that, gave us a fighting chance. And they're not easy to guard. They're very physical, and I really thought our guys did a nice job there. But happy to take any questions.
Coach, you look at the last 5.5 minutes of the game. San Diego State didn't score a basket in that stretch. What do you feel like was the key for you guys defensively and being able to kind of turn things around where in the first half they've been so efficient on offense?
Yeah, I think it was the whole second half. Our guys did a nice job. They were more physical. They were more in tune with the details, of where they were trying to focus and get the ball to. And, I thought our guys did a really nice job of fighting inside, because that's really what it is. And that wears on your body. When they have 2 bigs in there and they're screening and playing in and around the basket, and you're having to fight that play after play after play, that can impact your offense too, because you're having to fight it. Steven chasing Seiko all around. They were screening for him, and he's running all over the court. And, that can wear you down. But I thought our guys did a nice job of staying as in front of Bradley as much as we could, switching when we needed to and fighting those switches, and then flying in to rebound and fight for balls, which we didn't have in the first half. We didn't fight enough for those balls. We leaked out a couple of times, and then all of a sudden they're missing their own shot and laying it in the basket. It could have been a different game, but it wasn't. All right, and so we've got to give our opponent credit for finding a way to get out of here with a W. And obviously disappointing for our guys, but there's still a lot of ball to be played. 6 more conference games.
Utah State does so well at having those moments where they just kind of roll downhill on teams. And San Diego State seems kind of like that team that really thrives in the chaos. Coming back to that first half where there were a lot of stoppages in the game.
Yeah.
Weren't anybody's fault. It was official timeouts because shot clocks were broken or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think those moments in that first half might have, because of the play styles, might have hurt USU more than it hurt SDSU?
You could argue that. They're a pretty deep team. So it's not like they needed a ton of rest, because they shuffle them in and out. They have 2 bigs they shuffle in, and then they put the other 2 bigs in, and it could be a little bit disjointed, but you could argue that it might have helped us too, kind of get our breath, as well, because they were on us, at the beginning. And so, we both had the same circumstances, right? And so we had to deal with them. And obviously in that, I thought we were dealing with them pretty well. I think it was more the details of the game than it was the stoppages, right? That impacted, I think their play impacted, the end of that half. And our lack of execution on offense, impacted the end of that half more so than the stoppages and all of that.
Coach, Steven was saying that some of the technicals that you guys had were uncharacteristic
of
your team. Would you agree with that? And why do you think that maybe you guys kind of got a little heated?
Yeah, it got a little bit heated there, and certainly, obviously, it's not hard to figure out kind of what happened there, and so, my goal was to get everybody back. All right, and then the technical was called, and so I was a little irritated about the technical, and rightfully so. They should have given me one, and they did, and so then you kind of move on, and then obviously Steven got one, on a call. One of their players got one on a call, and so when it gets like that, the refs have to really establish, the control of it, and so they did a nice job of sifting through, the details of the skirmish, right? And it wasn't much, it wasn't a big deal. That really a big deal, but certainly didn't want it to escalate.
Fast and first with the latest news every 30 minutes.
Did not happen, but yeah, we never want to be, the team that loses their cool or, gets technicals. I was hoping to get through a year without getting one. That was the first one. Can't believe that. Wasn't that the first one? Yeah. Man, I just thought about that the other day. I was like, I'm not going to get one the whole year. Sure enough. But anyway, part of the game. These are veteran officials. They knew what they were doing. They handled it right.
So I think there's been quite a few comments about the officiating after, and that's the coach thing. The deal, I think, the reason they had to go back and look at that so long too is I'm sure they have been told is you really got to keep people on the bench, or that's an emphasis I think that that officials have got to be responsible for and make sure that anybody who does get involved, and I think you're right on Trammell maybe wasn't in the game at the time and they lost him. We lose two guys who are walk-ons who are running out there with one with dad and the other one trying to get just guys back and get out of there, and you could tell that guys were trying to get Funk out of there after it all got started, and it was obvious that it was almost like a little bump by Trammell first on Funk, and then all of a sudden he said something, and you could tell Funk immediately went right back, almost like a point to his face, like responding to what he was saying, and that's where that all started, and it happened real fast. There wasn't punches thrown or anything like that. So.
No, that's for me. That's just kind of part of the game, and people talk.
I think the official could have just kind of really quickly separated them or got them, get out of here and go, that kind of stuff. But they were already a little bit into the game with the technicals before that already.
And that's generally the case when you have a game that is so significant with respect to these two teams' seasons. Mm-hmm. It's highly charged. You have a lot of energy in the arena. The refs feel that too. And sometimes it gets them a little bit more quick on the whistle than they typically would have been in other situations.
So I think we've tried to explain. Somebody else, one of the texters sent in and wanted to explain the referees' technicals and ejections, and I think it's because of guys leaving the bench or off of there. Let's see, 54-64. Clock operator needs to be retrained along with the refs. The refs start the clock. The game clock, and it looked like a couple of times, I don't know if it wouldn't go or something was happening there, but they were definitely having some shot clock problems, but I don't know if it's really the shot clock operators or anything that's doing that. It just wasn't working very well tonight, it looked like.
Right, the clock goes with ref, right? So he'll click it on and off, and sometimes that, I remember we had that issue when we played Utah at the Spectrum, where the ref's clock didn't go off, and Boylan got pretty boiling.
Boylan was boiling. He was. 2070 points out, again, you have to know when you've got 0.2 on the clock that it has to be a tip shot, and where we were throwing the ball at the end, we weren't going to get a tip shot. You almost had to throw it up to the rim some way to have a chance.
Right, and I wasn't quite sure where we were headed in there. I mean, I think Dorius was probably the only option at that point, right? Get it up above everybody and see what he can do with it, because we just had to be right off the fingertips into the hoop.
And, of course, Dorius had some fantastic dunks off of some of those pick and rolls where he'd go down there, and some good passes. There was one pass by Z was a little bit, I think, misfired. I think he banked it off the glass, trying to get that one down inside. Another text here, Aggies need to capitalize on steals and the opposing team's turnovers. There were some great steals this game, but then no points at the other end, except for that one where we finally got the pass down to Funk from Sean Bairstow. But, again, I think that's San Diego State. I'm sure another big thing that they have in their defense is get back, and they have speed and quickness, and they can get back in with the long arms and the bodies in the way. But again, we do need to. I think normally we're better off if we can get. We had some steals earlier in the year more than we do now, but we did get down to it. We had some steals there 2 or 3 times there in the last 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah,
that made a difference.
When we turned up the defense, we created pressure, we created turnovers. San Diego State's good in transition. They're able to adjust and get back with their length and athleticism. But if Utah State's going to want to make any waves within the tournament or the rest of the season, it's not an excuse that the team's better, that good defensively. You have to find a way to capitalize on those things.
51-80, again, thanks for a great show. It says 10.2 seconds to go left down by 1. I felt pretty darn good about our chances. The shot we got wasn't the best, but he did get a good look, Shulga did. I imagine it's the shot that San Diego State maybe allowed us to have. Their defense was amazing. Second half, ours was too. From a fan standpoint, the second half was amazing. Go Aggies is what, again, 51-80 said. did the Aggies know they were only going to have 0.2 seconds during the review at the end? I'm sure the officials had to come over and tell them how much time they had. So there had to be something that they knew, because there was 1+ on the clock for a long time during the timeout as this texter points in. So the only thing you can do is tip the ball.
Yeah, well, and I watched the
what
play
is it?
develop.
0.3 is the deal where it's only
catch and shoot. I don't
is it
know
0.3 catch and shoot, and under that is just tip?
Just tip. I'm not quite sure what the threshold is there, but I know at 0.2 you got to just tip it in. And I watched the play develop for Steve to set the down screen on Dorius and him come over the top and try to tip it. I don't know. I watched Dorius come over, and then he sat into the back of the player rather than going vertical, and it didn't look like there was much of an option because even if they throw the ball, he still had to almost catch it to go rather than just being vertical and trying
being
to tip
way
it
up
in.
there at the time.
So, and so I'm not quite sure why the choice was made to just throw it where we did anyway.
Let's see. Texter 9315. Somebody else told me this would have won the game if there weren't for those 3 technicals we earned ourselves in the first half.
I don't think that's the case.
Again, it's hard to go back and pick 1 or 2 plays, like I say, 1 or 2 missed free throws. When you have a close game like this, you center in on those things that could have happened. Ashworth's kicking himself, as you can tell after the game, because he didn't make a wide open 3
right
there on that one chance.
Yeah, they're everything's a factor. Everything's a factor. I mean, and whether it's you have 20 minutes left to play or 10 seconds left to play, every possession counts, every shot counts, and you just have to treat it that way.
Yep.
And
0061, we've talked about this before. Aiken has to lead the nation in causing lane violations, and he does because he's got that hitch with his free throws.
Right.
Happen to get it. And this is the first time he didn't make him pay, and here's another one. We missed that shot where normally he makes it when he gets that second chance, and he has made it most of the time. And if you were going to pick a guy on the Aggie team who you'd want shooting at the end of somebody wants to ask you, 5141 says, who would you pick? Would be your top 1 or 2 players that you'd pick for a game-winning shot? Ashworth for sure.
Ashworth and Funk.
Okay, and because they're shooters.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you have to have a guy that's willing to take the tough shots. And, like, there's sometimes with Steve, he'll take shots during the game that I'm just saying, man, that's a gutsy shot. I probably wouldn't have taken it. But at the end of the game, I know that he's willing to take it. And so, and Funk hits some tough shots. He's got a really nice stroke. And so those are the 2 guys that I'd probably stick with at the end of the game to take those shots. I mean, Shulga and Bairstow, they have
Wilt Bairstow's made a jumper to win a game.
Right.
I remember in a key time in San Jose game or one of those games. I can't remember the closest, UNLV.
Yeah.
Shulga's been there to make a free throw to win a game or make a pass at the end of the game. So they've been there. And Shulga, I thought, had a pretty good look from the free throw line on the shot.
For me personally, from an outsider's perspective, I think there's just a different mindset with Funk and with Steve Ashworth that like makes me a little bit more comfortable with them taking that shot. Bairstow and Shulga, they can make it, but the instinct to like want to take it is a difference maker, right?
Yeah.
Like Steve wants to take those shots, and sometimes I think Funk wants to take them. Sometimes I'm not quite sure.
No, you weren't particularly always an outside shooter. You had a jump shot, and you'd shoot the ball outside. But if the coach would say, "Okay, Gary, we're running this play," were you the kind of guy who wanted that?
Oh, without question.
You would have been a basketball player who wanted that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I took it against Marquette, didn't make it, but Coach ran plays for me to shoot, and I always was of the mindset like I want to be a player that the ball goes to at the end of the game. I feel like I'm a guy that can make things happen, whether it's I make the shot or make a decision to make things happen, and so. For me personally, that's the type of player I felt like I had to be if I wanted to be successful and help the team win. And so I always wanted to be a guy on the court at the end. And fortunately for us, it never really came down to that in very many situations. We had Tyler Newbold who hit a couple big shots. Matt Formisano hit some shots. Ty Wesley hit some shots. And so we had a lot of guys that could step up.
Remind the people the years you played then in those teams.
So we had 2007 to 2009. So my junior year here was J.C. Carroll, Ty Wesley, Tyler Newbold, Pooh Williams, Chris Clark, Steve Ducharme, Matt Formisano. Senior year, we were 30-5. We had Ty Wesley, Tyler Newbold, Jared Quell, Pooh Williams, Jackson Meyer, Matt Formisano. Really fun teams. Brady Jardine was on my team as senior year.
You went NCAA both years, right?
NIT my first
NIT
year
okay.
NCAA, 17th in the country.
Okay.
NCAA tournament, lost to Marquette.
That was the Marquette one.
Yep.
Okay. Gary, of course, again, came up from the Salt Lake Valley. Took a little while for you to get into basketball to really get going into this life, and look where it's led you, right?
Yeah. It took me a while to figure some things out, but I'm still trying to get there. But things are looking positive for me.
Oh, I think they've. How many kids now?
I have five beautiful kids. 11, 9, 7, 5, 3. 3 boys, 2 girls. Beautiful wife, Jessica. Played volleyball up here.
Jess is a great one, and both of you are very, very great people, and grateful that I know you and all that kind of stuff. And it's been great to have you in here tonight too.
It's kind of you to say. Thanks, Al. It's been great.
So. We're going to take one last break, and then we'll give you final stats on the Aggie loss, 63-61. Gary Wilkinson joining with us tonight. Appreciate all the texters and all of the phone calls, and we will be right back.
Has been around for over 25 years. Can you believe that? Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent. What keeps us coming to work every day? We're passionate about caring for you. From home and bathroom safety to transportation, mobility, recovery, oxygen, sleep, and more, come into any of our 10 locations today and let us take care of you. Visit us at alpinehomemedical.com.
As a small business, achieving your financial goals and ambitions can be a steep and rocky mountain climb. This is Lance Zollinger, president at Cache Valley Bank. To conquer the mountain and achieve your goals, it takes planning, hard work, and discipline. At Cache Valley Bank, we have the resources, expertise, and flexibility to help you scale your way to success. Give us a call. Let's work together and climb the mountains that await. Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
The new Prodigy Brewing on Center Street in Logan offers an atmosphere that's vibrant, energetic, and friendly. Serving handmade juicy burgers, wood-fired pizzas, wings, nachos, and locally crafted beer while bringing a unique space to downtown Logan. Now offering lighter lunch options like personal-sized pizzas and sliders, or choose from your favorites like wings, beer cheese, fried pickles, and more. Stop by for a quick and delicious lunch that will get you back to work on time. Experience Prodigy Brewing, exceptional food, extraordinary service, and family-friendly on Center Street in downtown Logan.
It's cold outside, but you can keep warm inside with a quality-built, super-efficient York furnace. Count on a furnace from York because it's backed by the strongest warranties available. It's just another way we install confidence. Call Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, your local York dealer, at 752-7272. Online at advancedheating-ac.com. York, install confidence.
We're not comfortable until you are. Advanced Heating and Air.
Happy birthday to our favorite appliance expert, Daryl. This is Jay with Daryl's Appliance. It's Daryl's birthday and we're celebrating in style. Come on down to Daryl's and enter to win a brand new microwave. This week only, get a limited edition Daryl's t-shirt with purchase. That's not all. We're also bringing out Daryl's very own Harley. It'll be on display in our showroom for the week. Come on down and celebrate with us. Don't miss out on the birthday specials happening now at Daryl's Appliance, west on Airport Road.
Aggie Game Day continues. Sponsored by Les Olson Company on News Talk KVNU.
Get a little long game because, again, all those reviews, that was 15, 20 minutes almost in the first half to kind of figure out that whole deal, I think, with the guys off the bench and all of those things, so it ended up happening. But again, Utah State loses by 2 points to San Diego State, 63-61. And let's see, we've got the texter 9315. Just wanted to say thank you, Gary, for helping to do the show tonight, and we do appreciate Gary. How lucky am I? Jalen Moore, before the game all the time, his insights, he follows the game so closely and still is on top of it. And then Gary Wilkinson to come in, just a terrific people I've had a chance to be around throughout my years with the Aggies, and those are two of them. Two of got to be, 400 or 500. Probably had a chance to be with players and coaches and stuff. It's just been so fun to spend my life here. And I just think 58 years ago tonight was the Wayne Estes night in the old field house when I was a kid here. And some of you were like me, waking up on the morning of the 9th thinking, oh, we had the greatest basketball player in the world who just gone past 2,000 points, had the greatest game in his life's over. It was unbelievable.